Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for waiting. We are looking into the next game of the upper brackets. Now, Game 1 to Game 4 has elapsed already. In fact, all of the known teams, Evos Esports, Nara Esports, Bigatron, as well as Resurgence has all advanced. But do not forget that this is, after all, a double elimination. So any teams that actually were to be knocked out, they will then come back up, provided if they were to win in their games. So right now we do have Evos Esports versus Nara Esports.
Right, definitely. This is finally, we are down to what some of the viewers might say are the big four of these Singapore teams right here. Like you mentioned, Evos Esports up against Nara Esports. I'm pretty sure that these are the matches which all of the viewers have been waiting for. This is the big showdown.
This is like the final game worthy kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it is, except that you have 3 final game worthy kind of thing.
Yeah.
As like we said, we do root for the underdogs. We are hoping that, you know, either one of them make it up to from the bottom brackets back to the finals, and hopefully we can see an upset from one of the games. But so far it has been pretty straightforward for the big four of this tournament. 2-0 straight up, all the way from game number 1 up to the last game, which we saw, you know, Resurgence getting a 2-0 against Mix and Match as well. However, this time round, it might not be so straightforward for either of these remaining teams.
So whoever were to be knocked out from this current bracket, it goes down to the losers bracket, right? So after being knocked out from the losers bracket, then they will then fight the other loser from the top bracket also.
Right,
if I'm not
correct.
wrong.
So basically the upper brackets all the way to the grand finals, as well as the lower bracket finals, are all played in a best of 3 format. Whereas for the rest of the matches in the lower brackets, excluding the finals itself, it will be played in a best of 1. So that's the challenge that a lot of these teams that are heading to the lower brackets feel. I know some teams like to stay in the lower brackets. To them, it's like, you know what, lower brackets, best of 1. I can just play 1 game and, you know, wreck whoever is on the other side, just proceed to the finals. But why take the risk? If you can just stay in the upper brackets all the way, then that should be your goal of the tournament.
Exactly.
But without further ado, it looks like both teams are ready. So let's just jump right into the draft.
Alright, so right here we do have Nara Esports on the left side and Evos Esports at the right side. So the first ban is going to be put out onto Lunox. Understandable, nothing out of the ordinary. So understandably, we will have a Lunox ban, we will have a Kimi ban, perhaps Grok, Kaya, Cho. We'll see eventually what kind of team strategy that they're gonna work out for. So teams are definitely trying to snatch heroes after heroes. Whoever got the first pick might go for Grok, and then whoever gets the second and third pick will possibly go for the Cho pick, as well as, you know, maybe Minotaur. It's a pretty common thing to do, and the ban, and that is gonna be Grok. So Grok is now gone. Guinevere, I'm gonna say that. Oh, Cho is gonna be banned out. So we actually have quite a lot of top tier heroes that's already been straight out banned away. And we might be able to see something completely different for this game. Kimi is going to be last ban, without a doubt. Potato, go for the Kimi. Just go for the Kimi.
It's a bit hard to say. They might be able to leave the Kimi open, you know, ban out the Guinevere or in fact the Digi as well. This is where all these pocket picks come out. Yeah. So the thing about banning Kimi is that although it's going to be although they go for the straightforward ban over here on Kimi, this means that Kagura, you know, you have that, not Kagura, but you have your Harif, you have your Kaja, you have Grok, you have Minotaur, all still available on the board. Grok already been banned out by Evos around there, but I was just mentioning the other heroes that are still available in the hero pool. So that's something that a lot of these teams have to be worried about. Like, you can go for the straightforward ban, but it looks like we're gonna have a remake over here. This is why we're gonna see Miya and Nana picks right there. But we're gonna have a lobby remake. So let's just talk about the draft right there. I assume that they are gonna go for the similar bans right here. They're going for the same ban. We're gonna see the Lunox and the Chow getting banned out, and then we're gonna see the Grok and the Kiwi banned out. So let's just roll with that for now, right?
What exactly could really translate from all these bans?
So I assume that Evos Esports will still go for the Kaja pick. And if they choose not to go for the Kaja, Chow has already been out, so that's out of the picture. Another early game hero that could be picked up has also been taken out, which is Grog. So it comes down to whether teams want to prioritize in terms of damage. They can pick up the Hari, they can go for the Minotaur. This is where we start to transit into the CC heroes. You can pick up Hari, which not only has damage but CC as well. You can pick up the Minotaur. You can pick up the Kaja, which we saw Evos Esports going previously. You can also go for a couple of off-pick heroes. You can go for Guinevere. Guinevere is on the table as well. We can see Esmeralda is on the table as well. So a lot of these powerful mages still available. You mentioned Kufra as well. So all these powerful mages still on board, on the table, available in the hero pool. But more importantly, it comes down to the strategy of the draft. Do you want to show your attackers first? Like, do you want to show what's going to be a backline first and then allow the counter pick? Or do you want to go for the CC and give all these heroes over to the opponent's side? So it comes down to how you really want to pick up the draft, or rather how you want to go about outsmarting your opponents in terms of the drafting phase. But like I said, it's going to be a remake. They haven't really shown much of what they want to pick up. A lot of these heroes still available for both sides to really capitalize on. And I'm interested to see how Evos draft, because in the previous games that they have played, they had quite an easy game, if I'll put it that way, against Impulsive Error. In the first game that we saw, they just straight up 2-0 Impulsive Error. They focused a lot of their draft on the Grog itself. And when the Grog got picked up on the side of Impulsive Error, they switched up to picking up the Kufra and Chow as well. So you can see that they're quite flexible. Like I said, when you talk about better teams, teams that are more experienced, they have larger hero pool. They have more flexible strategies coming into the rest of the finals. However, like one more important point that we mentioned about was that better teams know how each other's playstyle. So they have been very familiar. I'm pretty sure that they scrim against one another in MPL as well. So I'm not sure how these teams will take those experiences into account and how much they gonna safeguard their cards kept close to their chest. But after the new patch that's come in, right? What do you think are the heroes to look for? Like, we saw a couple of patches ago where we saw Digi getting remake. He's a lot more viable now. Digi used to have quite a poor pick rate, although he was still a viable hero, but his first skill wasn't that pain. They actually kind of reworked a little bit. Instead of giving one charge, you get 3 charges now, but they kind of rescaled the damage output of Digi. So although he's still quite painful, he's a lot more of a I would say mage support, if you put it that way. It's still decent amount of damage, but ultimately the way he really works is that he's a straight up counter to teams that pick up heavy CCs. For example, you're talking about Minotaur. We saw one game where I believe it was in RSG against M&M, where Digi didn't really have his ultimate in play, and that just allowed RSG to win the team fight and pick up Turtle as well. So that's one ultimate that you will really have to look out for, especially if the opponent's team have Digi, is that you don't want to pick up heroes that are too CC reliant. But then again, Digi and rework is not only the change that we saw. We saw a couple of changes where I do believe
Nana's been reworked, Chang'e has been reworked as well. In fact, we saw Chang'e being picked up for Impulse Error versus Evos, if I'm not wrong. And we do have a really interesting mage combo from Chang'e right there. So, as for Digi, the only reason that I feel that the reason that Digi is being picked up again now is really because of the fact that he's more viable in early games and he's able to make himself a lot more useful in terms of all kinds of rotations. He can put down all 3 bombs in a bush and really just go for cheese tactics, and to make sure that, like, let's say Gusion and whoever it is, they go for the lanes and then they go for the buffs, right? If Digi actually went to the opponent's side, pop down 3 bombs, that should be an instant kill onto the Gusion already.
Right, as much as he is viable, if you look at the newer heroes released by Moontan into Mobile Legends, a lot of these new heroes have a lot of CC, a lot of crowd control available in their kit. And this is why Digi becomes so much more viable in this current meta, is that with all these heroes coming in, all of them have a decent amount of stuns along with slows. Digi is just one way out of it. You have the ultimate, not only that, you have that pullback, so you can kind of shut down the mobility coming from all these newer heroes like Esmeralda, you have Krafu as well, which are so mobile in lane from the get-go, and you have Grog, which is... Grog has always been there, right? And with Grog's passive, if he stays close to the wall, he's immune to CC as well. So Digi all the more becomes so important because he has to be able to protect not only his teammates, but he provides that CC in return. So he's just overall a really, really good kid, or rather a really good hero to pick up in your lineup if you choose to go for him.
And right here, it does seem like the ban seems a little bit different now. We do have
Your
Kaya
team
that's going to
is
be banned, as well as Harith from Evos Esports. On the other flip side, Nara is going to go for that Kimi ban,
right.
and we still have one last one, and that is going to be Lunox.
team
So
is
Grok is up
picking.
for the picking, and I believe that that Evos might want to snag that away and get that Grok. But that also means that Cho is going to be up for grabs. Guinevere is going to be up for grabs. Kufra, Esmeralda, Claude. Claude has been slipping out of the bans for the first phase most of the time
Right.
now. There is too many good heroes, such as this Kimi. So it's really tough to actually
team
focus
is
down
picking.
and know how your opponent are going to pick
Kufra.
to be able to successfully just cock block them.
Your
It's
team
really,
is picking.
really difficult. In this case, we do have Forza as well as Eric. Just going to go for that the Cho as well as the Kufra pick. And Evos, we're going to go for that 2 more picks.
Right, I assume that they're going to go for mages here right, as well. We saw Harith and Lunox already get it banned out, but like you mentioned, there's a lot more in the back. Guinevere, one of them, gets picked up by Evos as well. They're going to pick up the Claude, so a lot of bursts already decided from the side of Evos. There's a lot of sustain as well, especially once he gets that broomstick, and then, you know, Claude just takes off from there. While that happens, it looks like we're going to throw it back to Nara Esports. I'm not really sure whether or not the Leomord, I was just going to mention his name, but yeah, Leomord getting picked up there. I'm not sure whether they want to pick up early into
They
the
have
game.
to ban Esmeralda here.
I think they don't really want to give the Leomord over to the side of Evos,
Yep.
given that it is going to be last pick before the ban phase comes in, where we can see Evos just hovering over it. They could ban out the Diggy, which was banned out in the first part of the game. If you ban out the Diggy, you can pick up another hero which has
Minotaur?
plenty of CC. Kufra has already been picked up by Nara.
Minotaur. I would say that Minotaur is pretty okay when it comes to them. And like I said, they
Your
have to ban
team is
Esmeralda. With Esmeralda banned out, Claude should have a pretty good freeway to farm around, or even to use Blazing Duet and try to melt down the enemy sides. Even Kufra's bouncing ball shouldn't do
Your
anything at the
team
point in
is
time. So
picking.
I believe that the Angela ban is actually a soft counter to the Esmeralda ban, just so that Nara is not able to get the Esmeralda, right? So Evos will be able to make
Your
full use
team
of
is
the total
picking.
shields that that Angela have when it comes to possessing his teammates. And we do have a Kadita pick coming in from Nara Esports. A Diggy seems to be shadow picked right here. Not too sure whether they want to go for that. They might want to go for one last tank, and that could very well be Minotaur, unless they intend to go for a Diggy tank.
Right, so one of the tanks that we haven't seen throughout this tournament is Uranus. So it's an interesting hero, right? Because we haven't seen it much, not only in MPL as well. But he's one of those heroes that can really stand in the middle of team fight. I can kind of understand why teams choose to not go for him. Like, his kit isn't too flashy. He doesn't do a lot of damage as well. But he's just one of those tanky heroes that can peel quite decently for the rest of the team. I'm hopeful to see him in the rest of the game, but we're gonna see Hellcat. Pretty interesting coming from the side of Nara.
I would say that the Hellcat is pretty much a counter pick to Guinevere, because Guinevere is going to be one of their main CC heroes going in for the Magic Thump, and pretty much that we don't have a lot of CCs coming in from Evos Esports. So as long as Hellcat is able to be close within the vicinity of his entire team, Guinevere can't go in and Magic Thumb them into the air and go in for the Violet Requiem. He completely silenced out when he just lands on top of Hellcat, and that is when Cho, or in fact the rest of the team, can spring into action.
Right, I like the ban coming out from Nara Esports as well. The Angela ban does quite a bit onto Evos Esports. This means that Hayabusa has to be careful about the positioning at every single moment in the game. We're going to see Hayabusa do pretty standard stuff. Just going to be split pushing, I believe, onto either the top or bottom lane. One on rest, just going to rotate in trees. I believe they're going to leave Claude in the bottom lane as well. Just going to farm out as much as possible. And in this case, it's going to be top lane. So Hayabusa and Claude taking both the solo lanes. And then we're going to see a rotation coming out from Ace, Odia Bambi on this Guinevere, and we will see that DG rotate as well. So that's the kind of like the 3-man team that Evos Esports going to rotate around with from lane to lane. Whereas from the side of Nara Esports, they pick up the Chow, which is pretty good as well for the get-go. I do assume that Kadita and Halkut will be the ones rotating in order to get those ganks. In the mid lane, pretty passive, just go clear up their lanes as well. We're going to pick up that Throat before. Oh, but engagement down in the jungle for the side of Evos. Nara going for the invade, but it looks like Potato will still be able to secure that buff. So not too much being lost right there. However, it is Evos Esports. Look at the burst damage coming in. They're trying to go onto Forza. Forza with the back off. XM. He doesn't have his ultimate yet. It's still too early in the game. And Nara Esports will take quite a decent amount of damage. But they still managed to steal that camp. Not too bad, but this will force Forza back into the base.
And this is pretty much Free Farm City coming in from Potato. He even does have the River Crab all in action. But in the meantime, it does seem like Kadita as well as Kufra is going to make full use and try to get that River Crab. And
oh, the burst damage coming in!
Absolutely insane as Potato was able to teleport to one of his shadows. And of course, reverse time right on the Fenrir. He is playing as Kadita, so with the Ocean Oddity, he was able to get himself away and blinked out of action before the burst damage coming from Hayabusa lands a shot on him.
Right, Digi's damage right there. We talked a little bit about how he was reworked, but look at the burst damage coming in. And they do manage to pick up the Halkut as well. Halkut is pretty paper for an assassin. Like, if you look at where Grisham works, they still have shields available for them, but Halkut is just so paper, but he puts on a lot of damage as well. Once his ultimate gets up, he has that, global silence coming in. Not really the global silence, but a single target silence right there. Kolya over here in the middle of the farm. Digi coming right in. Oh my god!
Completely melting down at this moment of time. And of course, Forza just going for a little bit of a Jikundo move right onto Ace. Not able to accomplish anything at this moment of time, but they are going to knock onto the turtle right here. And of course, the wall is just going to be erected right here. And of course, XM gets himself away in just the nick of time before he will get time reversed right in there. And Blazing Duet coming from Soul, not gonna be accomplishing much. Wild Charge coming in onto Ace, and of course the beautiful Breath of the Ocean right onto Ace as well as Bambi, but they will still be alive. But Guinevere goes in and seals the deal right onto Kufra. And of course, it does seem like Evos will be safe and sound for now.
Oh, but it is XM who's getting all the pressure down the bot lane. Hayabusa over there on Potato. Oh, but look at the counter gang coming right in.
Breath of the Ocean once again. Flies up in the sky. Shadow Kill is going to be activated. Nothing he can do. But of course, he's just going to use Shadows and of course teleport right onto the Eastern Shadow. He will be safe behind the turret just for now. JPL comes in to join in the fray. And of course, Rough Waves tries to go for the kill. Unfortunately, wasn't able to. The Wild Charge. Beautifully done coming from Ace and ends that deal right onto Kadita as it falls dead to the ground, dead as a dono.
3 minutes in, 4-0 going in the way of Evos Esports. They have that 3k goal lead, and more importantly, looks like they're going to mount the pressure as well. Looks like they want to go onto this buff. JPL, Digi and Ace going to start out their buff as Guinevere makes her way into the jungle as well. It's going to be a 3v3 at this point of time. Can Halkut pull this off? And looks like they're just going to surrender the buff. Smart decision coming from Nara Esports. You look at the difference in terms of level. Oh my gosh.
Oh, the Tyrant's Rage right onto Bambi, but wasn't able to accomplish much. And Dark Knight falls right onto the enemy base right here. XM will still go down from Guinevere, unfortunately, but the Breath of the Ocean followed by the Rough. Whoa, just so much damage, especially coming from the Rough Waves. But Kolya was still able to get himself away from all of that danger. Bambi low in HP as well, but with that said and done, 6-1, and Evos will still continue to rain chaos onto the battlefield.
Right, more importantly, it looks like Hayabusa did manage to pick up the ball lane as well. And he's just going to snowball out of control from here. Like, Potato has been having a peaceful early stages of the game. He did manage to pick up 2 kills. Ace over here trying to sneakily pick up that buff, but it is Kolya who will be able to secure it. Nara Esports. Oh, could be in trouble right here. Look at the damage on the Kolya. But no follow-up.
No damage, no follow-ups, unfortunate. But in the meantime, here in the middle lane, Eric might see put himself in a lot of danger. Exactly what happened there. Completely melting down. Rough Waves followed by the Breath of the Ocean. Kadita stood absolutely no chance. And here comes the initiation, followed by the Fall of Darkness right here. And the blindness coming in onto Evos Esports. Absolutely no idea what's going to go on. But of course, we do have Violet Requiem coming in right onto Bambi. He tries to get himself away, but looks like the Psycho Ball was able to get a kill right on the Kufra. But the tails coming from XM was able to get that final one right onto Bambi. So it is a lot of trade-offs between Nara and Evos. It's really tough to tell what could be the end game. But for now, Evos Esports definitely have the upper hand.
Right, well, all of that was happening, the confusion coming in for Nara Esports. Evos was able to pick up not only the middle turret, but the turtle as well. So, in terms of trade-off, Evos definitely having the upper hand. Look at the burst damage coming in from Soul onto the Kadita, brought her down to almost half a HP. She will be fine after that heal up, but what can Nara Esports do from here? I mean, Evos just looking so confident. They're just bullying Nara in every single lane in the jungle as well. They do a couple of trade-offs with Nara. However, in terms of goal lead, they're still looking really healthy 6 minutes in.
It looks like Guinevere has the upper hand with a total of 4,000 gold and with a single tier item for now. So they should be able to snowball pretty decently, but if they were to be playing too complacently, they might lose this lead.
Alright, Evos here gonna get her up onto the top jungle, and looks like they might be looking for a gang. Chow just gonna keep an eye on Turtle, make sure that there's no one getting with a team fight. They're gonna show just 2 members in top lane, Hayabusa at the bottom. I'm not sure whether they take him down. Oh, Hellcat with that burst damage. And Kadita will be the one to secure the kill, and they're gonna push the bot. Looks like it's gonna be a 1-for-1 trade with Evos in terms of turrets.
He still just deal way too much damage for Hayabusa to even withstand that. And now that is the second tier tower coming in from the bottom lane, as Nara was able to put out quite a power right here. And in the meantime, it looks like the Way of the Dragon is just going to be executed right here. Kolya gets away in the middle lane with the bouncing ball. Nothing is going to be accomplished at this moment of time. And here, XM finds himself in quite a pinch, but should be able to get a recall.
Oh, XM gets caught out!
Just like that, he's gonna go down. In the meantime, at the other side, we do have the Blazing Duet coming in from Soul, dealing so much damage. And Joe just goes down, but Kolya, HP, is just a sliver of health. But of course, there is no way that anyone could work.
Ace. He managed to secure the kill right there. He thought he was safe and sound, but no. Digi reviews the position. You know what will be funny if Digi manages to get the kill with 1 damage. And then that will be the joke of the day. But that aside, you know, it is Evos Esports that does manage to pick up 3 members on the set of Nara. That was just amazing damage coming in from Claude as well. We saw him coming into Dueling Blaze, picks up 2 members, or rather 1 member, and it is Ace that will secure. Like, oh, look at that! That's just a scary moment.
But Kolya, of course, being a tank, will be able to absorb that pretty well. And of course, Darkness falls right onto the, Evos Esports, and Soul just completely taken out. Just like that. In the meantime, we do have Ace trying to contest a little bit onto the buff, but yeah, Fenrir was able to get that. So Kadita, all safe and sound with the buff, should be able to go ahead and just throw Evos off their feet.
Right. Things looking really healthy for Evos now. They're looking to snowball the game out of control, but Nara doing a good job of controlling the game, making sure that Evos, you know, doesn't get the upper hand too easily. Look at that, they're just preparing themselves around the turtle area, but no turtle for now as they prepare for Lord's entry. 65 seconds to go. They're trying to get the next team fight. Whoever wins the next team fight will have the upper hand in Lord's take.
And it looks like Ace as well as Hayabusa is going to be caught in between with the Way of the Dragon, Rhino Potato. There's absolutely no way that he can do anything but use Shadow Kill. In the meantime, it does seem like JPL using his time journey will be able to help Hayabusa get away, but Dark Knight falls soon and once again. But Blazing Duet coming from Soul just deals so much damage. XM tries to get himself away and will be able to do exactly that. In the meantime, Rough Waves is just going to be executed by Fenrir. HP just a sliver of health, but will they actually be able to catch him out? Ocean Oddity.
Oh, they spot him right there.
Will he be Breath of the Ocean? Will not be able to CC Ace up in the air. And gets himself away once again, but Bambi goes straight in. An Energy Ball ends the tide right on to Kadita. And that is 15 to 7.
So much time bought by Kadita over there as the rest of Evos Esports try to make their way into the base. Nara Esports, they buy as much time as possible. They will be able to push off this tier 3 push coming in from Evos, but how long can they hold on to? They're still getting things out of teamfight there. They did manage to pick up the Hayabusa, so that is not too bad for them. They're only 5k goal behind at the 10th minute mark. Lot is up. If they win the next teamfight and they do manage to pick up the Lot, not all is lost. Nara over here, just gonna get her down the mid lane. Their team is just separated throughout the map. Look at Hayabusa, he's in the bot lane as well.
Was able to get away right on time, but bottom lane, sorry, cut you off, but bottom lane, Hayabusa went down to Kufra as well as Hellcat. But middle lane is gonna be under siege now. Exactly what would Nara do?
Definitely, if you look at the experience bar as of now, but I would have to hold that off. Looks like another team fight could be coming.
very soon. Just waiting for the right moment as Eric charges up momentum, and they're just gonna fall back. They want to play it a bit defensively. Bambi misses the time, go for a spatial migration on the Forza, but Jikundo himself away from all of that and gonna put Bambi out of positioning. And of course, reverse time onto Kolia and bouncing ball right onto Ace. Ace is caught in the middle of nowhere, way of the dragon, right onto him, and he's caught in the middle of everyone. But he will be able to get a wild charge himself out of all of that. And Fenrir with the rough waste, Ocean Oddity just trying to do as much damage as possible. Ocean Oddity himself out of all of that, and the Tyrant's Rage right on the goal. But also, he goes for the Blazing Do It. Wasn't able to do much at this moment of time. Bambi goes straight in, will be able to get a magical thump, but no Violet Requiem just yet. Kolia goes straight in, but he will go down at this moment of time. Just gonna knock right onto the last tier defense tower and knock onto the shrine as well. Forza, Jikundo in, and of course the CCs for days, but not available and not able to stop them in their shoes. And that is a win for Evos Esports for match number 1.
Oh my god, that has to be the closest fight that we have seen throughout the day itself. Nara Esports putting up a good fight, especially in the middle part of the game. If you look at the itemization coming in for the side of Nara Esports, Chao actually did really well against Guinevere. Like, Guinevere was just dealing so much damage, or rather putting out so much skills on the Chao, but Chao with that Athena shield just doing so much tanking up for his team, burning away the mana of Odia Bambi. But unfortunately, it is Evos, or rather not unfortunately, or unfortunately for Nara Esports, yes, but fortunately for Evos, it is them that will pick up the first game in the bag. It is a best of 3 series though, so it is not over. Nara Esports over here, they seem so close. Like, if you really want to break the game down, there isn't a single point in the game that really go against, or there isn't really a single point in the game that went against their favor. It's just that in terms of team fights, Evos just getting these mini advantages in every single fight. They were just getting 1 or 2 more kills out of every team fight. They were just getting more objectives in terms of rotations. So in terms of the progression of the match, Nara Esports stood really well up against Evos. It was just that those, like I mentioned, the mini advantages that Evos Esports somehow they just managed to pick up 1 or 2 more kills or 1 or 2 more objectives when it comes down to rotation. So now Esports, there's no time to go back to the drawing board. It's just back into the second draft they have to go. Interestingly enough, I think both sides' draft are pretty even. Like, either side could have had a game. We saw Kadita putting so much damage in the early stages, and I think it was kind of like the first blood going in the way of Evos Esports that gave the Hayabusa a bit of advantage that they were seeking down the bot lane. I mean, 3-0 for a Hayabusa in the opening stages is kind of like a dream start for any Hayabusa.
Alright, so I just for Evos Esports, they did manage to just win the game, but I don't think that it is pretty much a snowball. They did manage to do pretty well.
Right. So
sorry, give me a second.
yeah, you mentioned something about them do well. So Nara definitely still having a chance in the match. Hopefully they do a lot better in the second game in this matchup. Evos Esports looking confident so far. So I wouldn't say Nara Esports did anything wrongly. Like, they still performed pretty well in game number 1. They just have to make sure that their rotations are a bit faster. They were kind of lagging behind in terms of rotation compared to Evos Esports. Evos definitely being the more aggressive ones, going into the jungle, making sure that they take away the buff away from Nara Esports, making sure that their carries do not farm as safely in lane. So that's something that Nara has to look out for. Nevertheless, it is pretty still close. Nara Esports might want to change up a little bit in terms of the draft now that Evos Esports know how they play in game number 1. I mean, both teams are pretty experienced. They still have a lot of heroes in the pool. They still can go back to their comfort picks as well. But like I said, you don't want to find yourselves in the bottom brackets. That's where the dirt and grind is. So while we get the lobby set up, it looks like we could be headed into a short break.
So this team 2 is Nara Esports, right? Yeah. So this is correct, right? No,
Right, so it looks like we will not be heading into a break. But in the meantime, it looks like Nara Esports will get the first pick. We will see Nara Esports on the blue side and Evos Esports going on to the red side. So Abstract, how do you think that they will change up their strategies that we saw from game number 1? Because like I mentioned, both teams going really, really close and Nara Esports not making much of a mistake. So what do you think Nara Esports can change up in order to come into the second game and have a slight advantage over Evos?
I honestly just defend this. In the meantime, Harley was able to get a kill onto our dear old Harith at the bottom lane, and the bottom lane turret should be under siege and going down anytime soon. The recall is just going to be called down from JPL and the rest of his team. Actually, JPL is just going to stay here. So interestingly, but anyways, it does seem like the Thump is going to appear right on the Harley, get that kill, and of course momentum is going to be charged up for Eric. He's not going to entertain Ace and Bambi, just going to go straight into the middle lane. Kufra goes down as he was being cucked in the middle, and here goes another Thump, but of course Minnow and Fury coming in from Minotaur, just going to completely decimate the entire team, and of course Nara just going to pull on straight back right onto the opponent's side. Soul and Potato was not able to do anything, and they have to go back to farming while the entirety of Nara knocks onto the front door of the first turret. Blazing Duet coming in from Soul, not gonna do much damage. Actually, no, deals a lot of damage onto XM. But of course, Soul just going to fall off, apparently. But Zaman 4 just going to be activated coming in. Of course, Synchro Fusion will end the life of Cho.
Right, and the turtle is coming up 8 seconds without the Chow. I'm not sure whether or not Nara Esports will be able to contest this. Carry really, really low as well. She has to get back as soon as possible in order to heal up. It looks like Evos Esports will be able to secure this turtle without much trouble. But speaking about that fight, it's surprising though. Nara Esports, they pick up 3 members with Purify. You mentioned that right earlier. And you look over to the side of Evos Esports, having the Granny Veer just strikes so much fear to Nara Esports. Given that they really respect the Granny Veer pick, they're going for Purify, making sure that none of their heroes have to be stuck in place. Talking about stucking in place, looks like we have Evos pushing onto the tower.
The steed is going to be activated as well as a Zaman Force, but Fenrir is completely out of position. He's not going to lane or kill anyone from Evos Esports. Now Potato, Soul and JPL, they want to find a fight right on the force of Akolia. Does seem like he's caught in the middle with a nice wall right there, and the Minotaur just gonna go for Minnow and Fury. It erupts into it, and of course the Way of the Dragon right on Potato actually made it really good for Potato, amazingly. Now Forza Kolia is all low in HP, but Harley was able to get that buzz down right onto Harith. Gonna be left with Ace, Soul in the middle of all of that. JPL just gonna put himself right in the middle of everything, and of course Soul with the Blazing Duet just completely melting down the opponent's side. And of course 4-3 right now. XM, Eric and Forza will have to defend this tower, but I don't think that Forza will live to see another day. But his Jikundo did manage to get 3 men up into the air. Bambi did not hit his magical thumb. Ace low in HP. XM should be able to get the final hit in, and that is the last kill for that team fight.
Such a messy team fight coming up for both sides right here, going back and forth in terms of trading heroes, and more importantly, it looks like Nara Esports will keep that tier 2 middle turret alive. What a fight there coming in from Evos Esports, and definitely Blazing Duel coming in from Claude as well. Did manage to pick up a double kill for himself, and his, not a double kill, but he did manage to secure 2 kills for Nara Esports. He's 1-1 and 5 right here. He's doing pretty decently. If you look at the rest of the team, looks like Nara Esports, they want to set up a gang right here. They have Eric X showing himself into the middle lane, while 3 members of Nara just gonna be on top.
A bait. This is gonna be a bait. This is gonna be a massive bait. And meanwhile, Ace run face in against 4 enemies. But it is a Grok after all. They are not going to spring into action anytime soon. But they're just going to rotate all the way to the top lane. And does seem like Nara Esports does have the better advantage in terms of objective. Just a little teeny weeny bit. But of course, in terms of goal deficit, Nara Esports does have a goal deficit of 1,000 only. Just only 1,000.
Right, that's quite negligible, but what is not negligible is
the
Forza.
Minnow
Oh
and Fury.
my gosh.
Followed by the Steed and the Wild Charge to get himself away, but he was able to clip a little bit of people in the meantime. And it looks like Bambi and JPL have to find a way to actually defend against his tower. 3 men knocking right onto their door and unable to do anything. But in the flip side, we do have Soul and Potato actually getting the inhibitor tower at the bottom lane. An impressive split push right here. And of course, Nara Esports was not able to defend that.
Oh my gosh, that was just good split pushing coming from Evos Esports, making sure.
Pincer blazing to it right here, and Harif was able to get that kill right onto Minotaur. One man down, 25 seconds in, and they have the time to go for the Lord, perhaps. Because if they go for the Lord, it is going to be a 5 versus 4. The Lord pushes down from the bottom lane, and then we'll see eventually how they're going to play that out. But Forza as well as Bambi, they will be able to meet up with each other. Ace right in the faces of the enemies of Fenrir as well as Eric, followed by the Wild Charge. But there goes the big team fight away on Dragon round the Soul. Soul wasn't able to do anything, but he's just going to teleport right back onto his Shadow Clone. But in the meantime, the wall is going to be erected right in front of SM. He will be able to get himself away most of the time. But Forza still in full HP. He wants to go for Soul, but unfortunately his movement speed is just way too fast. Even Jikuno and Shupo will not be able to catch himself up in time. And the damage coming in from Soul is just way too much as well. But with that said and done, Soul goes in for the blazing duet. He does have shields. He will be fine for now. He tries to go for the kill, but of course, deadly magic coming in from Fenrir will seal the deal right onto Soul, with Ace the only one defending onto the Lord. And I think that Nara Esports definitely have got the final push down.
Alright, you gotta hold that thought in place. It looks like Ace might be heading right there. He spots out Forza as well. Forza turning onto him. They have the Lord down to half HP. Ultimate getting activated as well. But Kolia, he doesn't have his ultimate ability. Looks like they want to take this fight right here. Evos going for it.
Way of the Dragon, just absolutely putting everyone out of position. JPL, he wants to go for the steal. They are completely going for the steal. And with that said, Lord has been slain from by Harley, unable to go for the steal. And that is an all-in coming in from Evos Esports, unable to get the Lord. They try to deny the Lord, but in the end, it does seem like Harley, with that retribution, ended the life of the Lord and pushing straight up in the middle lane. It is Soul against the world, and Ace will come back in alive. 2 against 5 with a blazing duet, not being able to do anything, even the Wild Charge. But hey, he managed to get one kill onto Harley. He actually managed to defend, and we only does have Guinevere left. Maybe, just maybe his magic thumb could be able to save the life of the entire team, but looks like the Purify coming in from Eric will be able to put himself off the CC mode. JPL, Potato, they are alive now. Lord coming in from the bottom line. What exactly could happen from here?
Oh my goodness, Evos Esports, just how much miracles are they going to pull off right there? They failed to take the Lord right here. Nara Esports gets the Lord, tries to push down middle lane, and one by one, Esports just throwing their bodies at Nara, trying to halt them from getting the game, and they successfully managed to do so. They still have one more team fight left in them. I'm not sure whether this will spell out right for him, but Potato standing in the front line. He's trying to catch out XM right here, but he's being babysitted by Kolia, and they have the Lord to worry about as well. I'm not sure whether Evos Esports will be able to pull a comeback right, but they have to get the Lord. Lord is one of the priority that they have to bring down. You can see Lord preparing the charge right here.
Focuses down the Lord. The Earth Wall is just going to be erected by Eric, just going to go straight in with the Steed. And of course, dealing so much damage by Kolia, just going to go straight in with the CC. And just going to push everyone up in the air. And Soul with a blazing duet, trying to go for the kill on Foster, but his HP is so low. But he's still alive, it's okay. JPL pushes everyone with the Tyrant's Rage, Tyrant's Fury, right to the Shrine. But the Shrine is going to go down. Nara Esports will be able to clinch the final of that match.
Oh my god, what a closure it is to game number 3 between Evos Esports and Nara Esports. That looked like the grand finals there, but it is not. It is only the upper brackets between Evos, and unfortunately for them, they will be headed into the lower brackets. And congratulations, Nara. I mean, both sides put up one half. That is actually the most exciting game that we have seen so far.
Exactly.
I mean, Evos Esports with that bait coming in the middle and top lane, and then just going to bot lane. We see the fight coming over here in the second minute. They managed to pick up first blood. They managed to pick up Colère as well. And for a moment, I thought, you know what, Evos Esports have this in the bag. You can see Minotaur over there having to use Minion's Fury, and then they turn their attention to Eric X, who does manage to pick up the Grog, but will fall, unfortunately, to the rest of our teammates. There was just nothing that Chow and Minotaur could have done right there. And just going back to the top lane, look at that. Nara Esports just picking out Hari time and time again. And it looks like Evos Esports for a moment, they want to turn the fight around, but they're just lacking too many men in bodies. And it looks like JPL just caught out in no man's land right here. Nara Esports confidently turns the fight. They secure the top lane, and then Guinevere comes right in. We will see it in a little part of the time. Odia Bambi getting set up right here. fails to catch, Forcell out of place. He turns attention down to the Minotaur as well. They do manage to pick up the carry. And Kolai actually does a good job of, buying time for the rest of Nara Esports to, push out the rest of the lane. Kolai will fall off, but oh dear, Bambi over there doing a good job as well. And throughout this match, look at how important that Minotaur stun is. 2 to 3 times we have seen Kolai getting a 4 to 5 man stun, and they turn the fight once again in the middle lane. This is just another instance of how important it is to ban out Digi if you want to pick up the Minotaur. There was just no way that Evos Esports could have dodged that Minotaur ulti. And I mean, Minotaur has to be the MVP. Look at here, another 3-man stun. They managed to get the knockup as well. Chow follows up with stun, and they have Claude in the backline trying to do as much damage as possible. Harif goes right in and not being able to secure the kill, and then Harif gets picked out by Harley over there. And yet from there on, Evos Esports just lacks so much damage. I mean, they have Claude as well. And from over here onwards, I thought, you know what, Evos Esports have this game in back. And then a ton of events come in from this fight. Interestingly enough, Soul tries to pick off anyone. They pick off the Claire, but for some reason, Nara Esports, they managed to secure the Lord. I mean, this is just surprising because for a moment, I thought Evos Esports, you know what, they're going to secure the Lord. They turn their attention down to every X, and look at that, the 3-man knockup. Oh my god, so much damage coming from Nara Esports. And not only that, they pick off the members of Evos one by one. They were just too saturated across the map. They were not sticking like they did in the previous team fights, and there's just so much damage coming off from XM. He managed to stretch through right here. Soul tries to juke Harley out, but the basic damage coming out from Harley just too much for Claude to deal with. And this is the defining moment.
Throwing off the bodies.
Look at that. They're just trying to secure the Lord, and they failed to do so. And for a moment, we said, you know what, Nara Esports have this in back. They definitely have got it for the first push. And here we come in, Minotaur setting for a stun. Kolai jumps in the right moment. Look at that, Minotaur knocks out 4 members of Evos Esports. And that was just pretty much GG. They've got the team fight in the back. XM over there just being freed up to do all the damage that he wants. Look at that, he's not even touched throughout the fight.
Look at Kufra. He actually helped.
Right,
he actually helped.
He did manage to slow down progress as well, but like I said, XM playing on that carry is one of those heroes where if you leave him to just do his damage, he's just going to tear your teams apart, and this is what they did exactly.
Man, oh man, a really intensive game, and it is a sudden jump from the games, and then suddenly 2-1, boom, we have such a great game for us, just like that. And I do not have a proper word for this game for Evos as well as Nara, but congratulations to Nara once again. We'll hope to see Evos once again when they are down at the bottom bracket. Hopefully that they will come back up. But the next game and the final game that we will bring for you today is going to be Bigatron versus Resurgence, and we'll be back in 15 minutes. And yeah, that is pretty much it. 15 minutes.
So before we go into the break, let's just give a big shout out to our sponsors, Razer, Singtel, PvP Esports, Scene Esports, and Armageddon. This brought to you by the Singapore Esports Association and Eliphant. So we'll hit a short break, but when we are back, we will have the last best of 3 series between Resurgence and Bigatron Esports.
We'll see you guys.